The Sustainable Sydney 2030 strategy is a multifaceted and largely successful sustainability initiative. However, one of its strategic directions to, quote, increase the capacity for local energy generation and water supply within our boundaries demonstrates key flaws in its water generation component. This is as it does not go far enough in its efforts to recycle drinking water, making it not as effective as it could be. As can be seen in Figure 1, the most common water usage in the City of Sydney's LGA is, quote, multi-residential, which therefore includes a variety of usages, which would largely include drinking water. Drinking water would also be a key usage in other areas shown on the map, including the food and beverage sector on the graph, the office sector, hotel, as well as single residential water usage. Despite this, a large emphasis of the Sustainable Sydney 2030 strategy is to recycle water from a variety of sources and for a variety of uses, but not for the use of drinking water. The current plan is to have 30% of the water used in the City of Sydney LGA to be produced through local generation by 2030, with 30% of the water to be recycled, but not for drinking water purposes. This is despite half of the water usage in the LGA being required to be drinking water quality. With a goal to reduce water consumption from the mains across the LGA by 10% when compared to 2006 levels by 2030, it would seem more effective to simply begin recycling drinking water, as is already done in places such as Singapore. This is especially as the population of the LGA is expected to grow by 335,000 by 2036, as opposed to the current population, which is 241,000. Likewise, there will be at least an extra 138,000 dwellings in the LGA, as opposed to the 48,000 dwellings that existed as per the 2006 baseline. This will lead to increased diversity of household types, including a greater share of families, and therefore a greater share of multi-residential and single residential usages. We're considering that these are some of the most common areas where water is used. It seems quite detrimental to not recycle drinking water, considering that drinking water is a very common component that exists within multi-residential and single residential accommodation types. With the emerging threat of climate change bringing further El Niño weather conditions, matters such as drinking water are coming under threat. This can be seen by the Millennium Drought and recent drought conditions. The desalination plant at Kona can only, at a maximum, supply 15% of the city's population, and is therefore unsustainable to be depended upon. As a result, obviously water quality is a key component to consider. However, drinking water must be recycled in the City of Sydney LGA.